So today we're going to work in our class number 6. This is the class of the week number 6. And we are going to talk about a little bit about life in general, no? So here, for example, in this slide, we're going to find different changes in life, no? Moving abroad, changing schools, starting a new job, knowing new people, traveling, studying something new, starting a new relationship, practicing a new sport, getting something new, like receiving a new object, and learning a new language. Have you experienced any of these changes?
Yes.
Which ones and which are the more meaningful? Do you know what is the meaning of the word meaningful?
No.
Like significativo, no? So
Okay.
what
Mm.
changes have you experienced and which one has been the most meaningful for you?
Maybe starting a new job.
The last one.
Yes.
Why?
Because in my previous job, I worked a lot of hours, a lot, and I had yo duré. I
I
had
lasted.
I lasted a lot of years in this work,
Mm-hmm.
around 7 years.
Okay.
So I start a new job the last December,
Okay.
and it was a big challenge in my life.
Okay, great. Very good. But it has been a good challenge so far. For the last 4 months, they were good months, right?
Yes.
Mhm. Okay, good. Now that when we use this expression, it's a lot of with F at the end, a lot of
A lot of.
exactly like that. And when I use it at the end, when I use a lot of, it's because after that I am going to mention the object. For example, a lot of years. But if I say just like mucho, that's it. It's going to be just a lot. For example, I worked a lot. That's it, no more. But if I want to say muchos que, muchos años, muchas, then a lot of years, for example. Ready? So
Mm,
ese of es condicional dependiendo si incluyo la siguiente parte o no. Si no la incluyo, solamente a lot and that's it. Ready?
okay, nice.
Very good. Okay. Well, very good. So in this case, we have had a lot of different changes, no? And getting a new job, it's a new experience and it has been a new job. But that is a change that happens usually in the adult life, no? In
Mm,
your childhood or in your teenager years, what was the more meaningful change?
mm, maybe moving abroad, not, but moving in the other city because I'm from Villavicencio
Uh-huh.
and I'm moving to Bogota.
I moved
It
from
was 17 years
17 years ago or when you were 17 years?
when I was 17 years.
My
old.
God, of course, very difficult. It's a difficult age for moving.
Yes, but it was good.
Yeah. Because you change your friends, your school, everything,
Yeah.
no? Hmm. Okay, my dear. So, well, here we have different changes, but these changes are organized along my life. No, so basically, well, this is the infographic of the week, and we can see that these changes they happen for a long. I mean, they happen all during our life, and they taught us or they show us different things. No, for example, my graduation was in the year 2014. Well, 2014 from university, 2009 from school. My first job was in the year 2015, right? I started my magister in 2018. I traveled to Europe the last year in 2025, no? Uh, Different things that we can have, no? Having children, I am actually expecting to be a father in July. So there are different changes along the life, right? And every single change, it has to show us something different. Maybe something before, maybe something immediate in the meantime, or maybe something after. For expressing those changes or those important changes, we can create a clause, like two sentences, connected with different time adverbs, no? Here we have some time adverbs that we can use. The most common one is when. no? But we can also use, of course, before or after, yes, for describing what happened after that moment or before that moment. For example, let's suppose moving to Bogota, ready? So I could say that after I moved to Bogota, yes, I felt lonely. In my town, I used to feel, better with more people, closer to my family. But when I moved to Bogota, after I moved to Bogota, I felt lonely. Good. So I am connecting two different sentences created by or connected with time adverbs. No? When we use connectors, we are going to have two possibilities. The first possibility is that we use the connector at the beginning and in the middle we have a comma. Or the other possibility is that I use the connector in the middle and I don't have commas. For example, I felt lonely after I moved to Bogota. It's the same idea, but differently organized, but it's the same idea. So I said, I felt lonely after, of course, after I moved I moved to Bogota, right? So in that case, same idea, but differently organized. When we use connectors, one possibility is to use it at the beginning, the other one is use it in the middle, no?
Okay.
But I can say also, if I wanted to describe what happened before that, well, I can change the adverb and use another one, no? For example, I could say that before I moved to Bogota, before I moved to Bogota, right? I used to, I don't know, I used to live more relaxed. Here in the city, the life is too stressing, right? So in that case, I used to live more relaxed, right? Not after, but before. So here I'm using a different adverb, the adverb of the other moment of my life. Ready? So every single adverb, after, before, when, it's going to be used for a different reason. Hmm? After, it's for talking something that happened after the other situation. Before, of course, before. When, we use it when we talk about something that happened at the same time. No? When I moved to Bogota, I was very, very, very broken. I was really broken. I didn't have money when I moved to Bogota. So in that case, it's an action simultaneous to the other. Hmm?
Okay.
And in that case, I can use all the other three. The moment, which is en el momento en que, once, which is una vez que, and as soon as. Do you remember what is the meaning of as soon as?
Tan pronto como.
Exactly like that. So in that case, when I use these three, it's a change that happened immediately after the other situation. As soon as I moved to Bogota, I started to work because I need money as soon as I moved to Bogota, right? Or for example, as soon as I graduated, my salary improved a lot because I had my title, my diploma. So as soon as I graduated, right? The organization is the same. I can use at the beginning the connector or the connector in the middle. Depends on you. But the idea is going to change completely if you change the adverb. Okay?
What is the meaning of once?
Once it means una vez que.
Mm.
Actually, it's similar to the moment or as soon as, because when I say once I came to Bogota, I started to be more independent. No, una vez que. Once I came to Bogota, I started to be more independent. Ready?
Okay.
Now, in this case, with these six adverbs, con esto seis, with these six, I am going to use simple past in both sentences because I felt lonely, me sentí solitario, moved to Bogotá, me mudé a Bogotá. Ready? The action is like one after the other, so we use simple past in both cases. But we have two that are different, which are by the time and until. Until, you know that it's hasta. And by the time means para el momento en que o para cuando, right? In these two cases, we are going to use or we are going to describe something that had happened or had not happened before the moment. For example, let me just erase this part. Vamos a borrar este pedacito acá, sorry. I can say that until I moved, until I moved to Bogota, yes. comma, I had never visited a big city. This was the first city that I visited. So when I say until I moved to Bogotá, eso significa antes de eso, before that, I had never visited a big city. So when I use by the time and until, the second sentence is not in simple past, is in past perfect to describe that it's an action that had happened before the other action. Okay? And I can
Okay.
use it with by the time the same, no? By the time, para cuando me mudé a Bogotá. By the time well, this is one example, but I can use it with other one. For example, by the time I graduated, I hadn't saved any money. Yeah, by the time I graduated from the university, I hadn't saved any money before. No, so the second part it's going to be in past perfect for talking about another action that had happened before. Very well. That
Okay.
as I, my dear, questions, problems,
This,
difficulties.
this is with by the time and until.
Exactly
Or-
with those two, with by the time and until.
Okay.
Ready? So taking into account that we have all these possibilities, right? And that you mentioned that one of the most meaningful moments of your life was when you changed your job. So tell me, what happened as soon as you changed your job, or what had happened before that, or what had happened until that moment? So what did you perceive after that change?
Um, I don't know. Maybe until I start my first job in Bogota, I could buy uh, a TV.
For example, right? Cuando usas until y simple past en ambas, funciona como muy parecido a after o when, ¿no? Pues you said, until I started my first job in Bogotá, I could buy a TV. Perfecto. También podrías usar after I started my first job, I could buy a TV, ¿cierto? Muy bien, that's it, right? Si quisiera usarlo o mencionar como algo de antes, podría usarlo entonces con el past perfect. Por ejemplo, until I had o until I started my first job in Bogotá, I hadn't had a TV. O sea, antes de eso no había tenido. I hadn't had a TV. ¿Ready? Puedes usar las dos formas. Si usas el simple past es porque el cambio fue después. Si usas el past perfect es porque el cambio había sido o la situación había sucedido antes, before that. ¿Ready?
Yeah.
Ujú. Listo, very good, Nat. So, you are a mommy, right? You are a mother.
Yes.
Okay. I suppose that it has to be one of the biggest change in a woman's life, right?
Yeah.
So, I would like to know what changed the moment you became a mother.
The moment. But the moment is both sentences is impossible.
Yes.
And the meaning of it is it's literally, literally,
Y
literally.
it's literal like when I say en el momento en que, ready?
Okay. The moment that my son was born, I I start
I started.
I started. No. I left. Dejé de dormir. I left sleep. I don't know.
Ok, entonces en ese caso
I don't
podemos
know.
decir I stopped.
Okay.
I stopped sleeping. Mm,
Okay.
true. Ay, my God. Should I be worried? Me asusto. Should I be worried? Okay, very good. So in that case, you said that specifically right after your son was born, you stopped sleeping, ¿no? De momento en que nació, dejaste de dormir, right? En el caso de nacer, Was es el pasado, el verbo otro siempre va a estar born. ¿Listo? No hay necesidad de colocarle ed ni nada. Yeah, that's it, right? So, the moment my son was born, I stopped sleeping. That's it. Ready? Muy bien, very good. So, in that case, my dear, I can, when I use these time adverbs, I can create clauses, complete ideas, no? Connecting two ideas, and in this case, connecting two situations. One change and the consequences or the causes that brought that change, no? So the consequence that your son was born is that you stopped sleeping. The consequence that you started working is that you had money, ergo you could buy a TV. The consequence that I moved to Bogota is that I started to be more independent. So here we're talking a little bit about consequence and causes and consequences, but related with the time. What happened after and what happened later? What happened before and what happened after that, right? It's just basically like that. Now, this construction of the connectors is going to apply for all kinds of connectors. The connector can be at the beginning, sentence number one, comma, and sentence number two. This is basically one idea, no? Like this is a complete idea. Or the same idea that can be worked using the sentence number one, connector in the middle, and then the sentence number two. It's exactly the same, but you have to be careful how you change the sentences, no? So in that case, it's very important that you organize your ideas correctly, okay? But this construction of this structure, connector and connector here, it's going to apply for all types of connectors, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very useful for talking about that. Bueno, very good. So here we mentioned basically the changes in our life, but also additionally, we can talk a little bit about expressing regrets. You know what is the meaning of regret?
It's like I think so. I don't know. It's like como disgusto, como no estar de acuerdo, como I don't know what is the exactly word in Spanish.
In Spanish, it means arrepentimiento, and it's when
Yes.
something that we don't like about our past, something that we did, but we do not feel good about it, right? So in that case, it's something that makes us feel bad with ourselves. Good. It's a bad decision that we made in the past, and that make us regret. Okay. So when we mention that it's basically connected with all those changes, we're going to express our discomfort with those decisions using regrets. Since that is about ourselves, we're going to have like a self judgment. Judgment is like un juicio, yes, un juicio de valor, right? But it's about myself. So in that case, I'm gonna use I plus should, which is a hypothetical good or bad idea, but it's about the past. So we're going to use should or shouldn't, have, and the verb in past participle. Ready?
Mm,
So in this case, I want you to help me to read this paragraph, my dear.
for example, look at me. I shouldn't have left my wife for that business trip. When I use shouldn't have, it means that it wasn't a good idea, but I did it anyway. Instead, I should have gone in a romantic trip with her. It means it was a good idea, but I didn't to do it. Do you see? I have a big regret.
Regrets, maybe very good. So we have two possibilities. If I say shouldn't have, yeah, it's because it was a bad idea, but I did it anyway. Yeah. So I shouldn't have left my wife for that business trip. It was a bad idea, but I did it anyway. And I feel bad about it, right? On the other side, on the opposite side, we have should have. So when I use should have, yeah, it's because it was a good idea, but I didn't do it. So all of this topic of should have and the verb in past participle, it's only a hypothetical situation because it's not going to be real. No, it's never going to be real. We cannot change the past. What it's done, right? But this is like how we feel about it. We are expressing what it was the ideal thing to do or what it was a bad idea to do, but I did it anyway. Ready? So, for example, talking about the moment when I moved to Bogota, I said, okay, as soon as I moved to Bogota, I started to work. but I consider that I should have I should have looked for a better job because I started in a very bad job, right? For a better job. So I regret it, yeah, because I started in a very bad job. So I think that I should have looked for a better job. And I also think that I shouldn't
Hay
have,
como yo
dime,
debí haber buscado un mejor trabajo.
exactly like that. It's a hypothetical regret about the past. Never going to be real, but it's about the past, right? Here I said that I shouldn't have rushed myself. Do you know what is the meaning of the verb rushed?
No.
Apresurarse.
Okay.
So I shouldn't have rushed myself to accept any offer. Because you are new in the city, they see that you are new in the city, that you are in a vulnerable position, so they offer anything. And since you are vulnerable, but you accept it, right? So, but I shouldn't have rushed myself to accept any offer, right? So we have both affirmative, I should have, and negative, I shouldn't have rushed. This one, I should have, something that it was a good idea, but I didn't do it. And I shouldn't have, something that it was a bad idea, but I did it anyway. Ready?
Mhm.
Hmm? I would like to know about your life changes, maybe about the first job, maybe about your previous job, maybe about your career, your major, something like that. What is your biggest regret? What do you regret about it?
Um, when I finished my school, before I start the university, I shouldn't have traveled abroad for learning English.
Hmm. Then I should have.
I should have, yes.
I should
I
have. Yeah.
should have traveled abroad for learning English.
Perfect. That's it. That is a good idea. Well, that was a good idea, but you didn't do it. You moved to Bogota and it started working, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Exactly. So in that case, we are just making hypothetical suppositions because that's not going to be real. But that is how we feel about our past. And that's what we want to express. Right. Ready, my dear. So that one it's about should have and shouldn't have, which is expressing just how we feel. But in addition to that, we are going to answer to one very simple question. Okay, and what if you had traveled? The regret is that you didn't travel abroad when you had the opportunity when you graduated from school. No, that's your regret. I am going to ask you, what do you think that would have happened if you had traveled abroad in that moment?
Como que, ¿qué hubiera pasado si yo hubiera viajado?
Exactly like that, yeah.
Um, maybe I should have looked a better job.
She says, maybe I should have, I should have looked. Well, I should have gotten, supongo, como conseguido, yes? I
Yes.
should have
Mhm.
gotten a better job. But here we are going to have a change. Here, actually, should is not working. We're going to use would because here this is not a regret. Esto no es un arrepentimiento. It's just a hypothetical situation in the
Mm,
past. Yo hubiese o hubiera conseguido un mejor trabajo. Ready?
yes.
So, in addition to should have, my dear Nata, we are going to find something that it's called the conditional number three. Okay? The conditional number three, espérame, déjame borrar acá. Wait. The conditional number three, it's a hypothetical situation in the past with a hypothetical consequence in the past. Ready? So, for example, here we have, if I had had more patience, I wouldn't have broken up with her. It's a hypothetical situation about the past, and a hypothetical consequence. Here, the hypothetical question is, if I had traveled, si yo hubiese viajado, if I had traveled abroad, yeah, comma, maybe. Ese maybe, it's great because you are expressing a possible situation. It's not realistic. It's only a hypothetical situation. So you said, if I had traveled abroad, maybe I would have gotten a better job. Got it. Bueno, a better job. Ya ahí sabemos qué va eso, right?
Mhm.
So in that case, we have the third conditional. The conditional number 3 is divided into parts. The condition, and the condition has if, the first part, subject, and the sentence is, or the tense is going to be expressed in past perfect. Si yo hubiese viajado, yeah? And the complement, if I had traveled abroad. That is the condition. The consequence is a hypothetical consequence of the past. So I'm going to use the subject here, see, very good, and then the modal verb. Ese modal verb puede ser would or it can be could. Ready? Would or could. Then we're going to use have, could have or would have, and the verb in past participle. Here, I would have gotten a better job. Gotten, that is the past participle of the verb get, right? So in that case, this is a condition that talks about an imaginary situation of the past. It's never going to be real, similar to should have. It's not going to be real. I am just supposing about the past, creating crazy ideas, right? It's not going to be real, but I want to look, I want to think what would have happened. What if? Que si hubiese viajado, right? So that conditional is going to be used for that. Kind of?
Okay. Yeah.
I know it's a little bit confusing or a lot of information, but
A lot of information, yeah.
exactly, I know it, I know it. So we are going to have those two parts then, ready? So we have on one side, vamos a dividir esto en tres, tun, tun, tun. So on one side, we have the time adverbs, the connectors, que until, que after, que before, for talking about life changes, no? Life changes, so as soon as, the moment, that, right? No problem. Good. Here we have the regrets. Que debía haber, que no debía haber. So all of that with should have. Ready? Notice that in this case is not que hubiese pasado, sino que debí o no debía haber hecho. Should or shouldn't have. And then we are talking about hypothesis. Past hypothesis, right? Which in this case, it's the third conditional. But they are three different topics, three different situations, and three different structures for talking about the past. All of them are talking about past, for sure, but for different reasons. One is talking about the situation, one is talking about qué hubiese pasado si, and the other one is talking about what I did wrong, lo que hice mal, and lo que debía haber o no debía haber hecho. Ready? So in the web page, in the platform over here, we are going to have first, well, it's a little bit, vamos a reactivar aquí la, sí, good, ready. In the infographic of this week, I leave you these slides, ready,
Mhm.
for reviewing about the third conditional. So, if I had known, I would have rented the car, significa que no sabía, y por eso no lo renté, ¿cierto? So, in that case, si hubiese sabido, if I had known, I would have rented the car. Primera parte, condición en past perfect, if I had known. Segunda parte, consecuencia con would have y el verbo en past participle, right? So,
Mhm.
if scientists hadn't invented vaccines, las vacunas, many people would have died. Significa que sí las inventaron, ¿sí? Pero si no las hubiesen inventado, hipotéticamente, right? Many people would have died. Muchas personas hubiesen muerto, pero no se murieron. It's a
Mhm.
hypothetical situation, right? Notice that in this case, I can use, igual que con el conector, con los otros conectores, I can do the same with if. I can use if in the beginning with comma in the middle, or I can use if in the middle, connecting the two ideas. So it's exactly the same. Okay? Great. So here, it's going to be the same with any kind of subject, no? If she hadn't studied, she wouldn't have passed the exam. What do you think? Did she study? Yes or no?
No,
No. Or yes? I don't know. It says
no.
if she hadn't studied, she
Mm,
wouldn't have passed the exam.
no, yes, yes.
Exactly. So
Studied. She studied.
she studied very good. Did she pass the exam or no?
Yes.
She did it, right? Why? Because she studied. But we said if she hadn't, she wouldn't have, right? So
Mhm.
exactly like that. Very good. So help me to read this part, my dear. It's as a
When do you
summary.
when do we use third conditional? Third conditional? The past unreal in conditional described past events unreal or untrue conditions and results.
Exactly like that. Very good. So it's just for that, no? For talking about unreal situations in the past. That's it. Ready? So remember, first part with past perfect. En este caso, porque had, porque es como hubiese tenido. Ready? Casualmente, el auxiliar del past perfect es had y el verbo en past participle también es had. That's why it seems strange, but that is the correct way. If I had, si yo hubiese tenido, if I had. And I can do it with could have or would have, right? The difference is minimal. I could say if I had money, I would have hubiese comprado. O I could have pude haber, ready? Pude haber comprado. It's basically the same idea. It's just a minimal difference, but not a big one, right? Well, in that case, when we have a question form, right? So it's going to be basically the same. We said what, or the WH, ready? And of course, we are going to start with the modal verb first. What would you have, like, what would you have done, yeah, if you hadn't moved to Bogota? What do you think, Nat? What would you have done if you hadn't moved to Bogota?
Um, Give me a second.
Don't worry, take your time.
If I hadn't moved to Bogota, maybe I wouldn't, yes, I wouldn't have, yeah, I wouldn't have got, uh, no hubiera obtenido un buen trabajo.
A
I
good
would
job.
a good job.
Yeah. Get, it's the infinitive form, but in past and in past participle, we have two forms, got or
Gotten?
gotten. Yeah, both are possible. So you could say, I wouldn't have got or I wouldn't have gotten. Both are fine. No worries. Ready? Pero solo pasa con get, ¿no? No con todos, just get y got. Tienes esa posibilidad que puedes usar cualquiera de los dos. Con los demás verbos, ya sabes que pues si hay un past participle definido, pero en este caso cualquiera de los dos pueden valer. Ready? So, it's fine.
Okay.
Muy bien, so if I hadn't moved to Bogota, I wouldn't have gotten a good job, right? Something that it's not going to be real because you moved to Bogota,
Yes.
you got a good job, but it's just a hypothesis. Ready, my dear? Listo, my dear Renat. So here, please, I want you to, this is a quiz. It's just 10 questions. Ready? I'm going to give you the control of my mouse so you can take this quiz, okay? Give me 1 second. Listo, ya. You have the control of my mouse, my dear.
Really? No.
Don't you?
Mm,
Wait. No, really, no?
no.
Changos, wait. Try it once again.
Yeah. Okay.
So just read the sentence and select the option that you think is correct.
very difficult.
It's
Oh,
past perfect, no present perfect, sino past perfect. So had
oh
and the
yeah.
very past participle. Exactly. No, don't worry, tranquila, no worry. Este condicional es un poquito enredado, so relax.
Okay. Next.
Yes, please. Excellent,
Mm.
great.
What is the meaning of entirely?
Entirely, como enteramente. Entonces,
Mm,
my dear, in that case, esa es la consecuencia. La consecuencia siempre va a llevar modal. ¿Ready? La condición, si te fijas aquí más adelantico, la condición es la que lleva past perfect. ¿Ready? La que lleva if, esa es la condición, esa es la que siempre va a llevar past perfect. Mientras que la que no es con if, es la consecuencia. Y en este caso siempre voy a usar el modal ya sea could o would, have y el verb past participle. ¿Ready?
el que lleva
Entonces,
if es la consecuencia.
esa es la condición, el que lleva if. ¿Ready? O sea, el
La
que está
condición.
después de if es la condición y va con past perfect. Y el otro, el que no lleva if, ese es la consecuencia y ese es el que va con modal. ¿Ready?
Ok.
¿Mm? Aquí este might funciona también como modal, ¿no? Es otra opción diferente de could y de would. ¿Ready? Entonces ahí ese es el modal, el might have become.
Ok, en ese orden de ideas.
Exactly. If my parents hadn't forced me. Ajá.
Sorry.
Exactly, very good.
Healthier.
Yeah, healthier, like más saludable.
Ah, ok, ok.
This is kind of your life with the other job, no? So I might have been
Yes.
healthier now if I had left the long-term stressful job. Mhm. Exactly, very good. Claro que aquí en este caso, bueno, digamos que se cuide en esa pregunta hice un poquito un error, que es como now. Si usáramos now, eso sería un condicional mixto, right? Que es algo que vamos a ver en el siguiente nivel. pero
Ah,
sería como what would you do? No es tan complicado, solo que en la segunda parte no sería como what would you have done, sino what would you do, porque él dice now, ahora, ¿cierto? Pero lo que
ajá.
veíamos es que el tercer condicional ahora es sobre el pasado, que hubiese pasado en el ahora, en el antes. Entonces, if I had invested in the startup 5 years ago, what would you have done in that moment? Más bien, no now, sino in that moment, ¿ready? Pero bien, esa sería la respuesta. Very good. Dale, continue, my dear. Mhm, exactly. Very good. The last one. No mentiras, two more. Okay, I think you got it clear now. Very good. Mhm.
Yes.
That's great. Easy. Very good, my dear. So, well, you got 8 out of 10, but the mistakes were in the first two, so it's acceptable, no? Very good, my dear. Good. And accuracy of 80%. Not bad. Not bad at all. Very good. So, my dear Nat, in general terms, when we talk about conditionals, we are going to have, three. Well, I'm going to erase this part. We're going to use three, well, actually four, but we have the conditional zero, the conditional one, or the first conditional, the second one, and the third. Yep. All conditionals are divided in the same type of sentences. The first one, which is the condition, and the second one, which is the consequence. Ready? The condition always is the one that has if. Siempre. Always the condition has if. We're going to find other different options later, but for the moment, if. And the consequence is the one that has always the modal verb. Almost always the modal verb. When the conditional is the zero conditional, we are going to have present simple in the first part, and also present simple in the second part, right? The conditional zero is for something that is always true. Like, for example, a scientific fact. I said that if I freeze water, it becomes ice, ¿cierto? That is something that is always real. If I freeze ice, it becomes ice. Siempre pasa. It's always true, right? Scientific fact. If I mix yellow and blue, I get green. Yeah, something that is always true. That is the conditional zero. The conditional one is possible, something that it's possible, and it's a real possibility, something that can happen. If plus the present simple, ready? Plus the present simple, and in the consequence, we are going to have the modal verb will or can or may, because it's a possibility, no? Something that it's possible, for example, if I lose, presente simple, if I lose my phone, en el presente, if I lose my phone, I will block my accounts. Es algo que puede pasar, perder el celular es una situación real. Something possible, right?
Mhm.
On the other hand, with the second and the third conditional, we are start talking about hypothetical things. So this is a unreal situation, hypothetical situation about the present. So it's an unreal possibility. Ready? And then we start changing a little bit the tenses. In this case, we don't have present simple. We have if plus past simple. And the consequence is going to use or would, or could, or might. If you notice,
We were in
would,
second conditional
yeah,
in
in
this.
second conditional, exactly. And as you can see, these three, would, could, and might, are the past of will, can, and may. So it's the same modal verbs, but in past, right? Now, este condicional no es que sea sobre el pasado, en realidad es una posibilidad irreal, presente o futuro, pero como es irreal, en el inglés usan el pasado simple para hablar de algo que es irreal en el presente. Ready? Entonces, for example, if I were, no sé, if I were a woman, I would, no sé, I would be very ugly, something like this, right? Entonces, but this is a unreal possibility. Eso nunca podría, o bueno, podría ser real si pasan muchas cosas, pero es una posibilidad lejana. It's an unreal possibility. Ready? That is the second condition. ¿Mm? En ese caso uso would, could y might, pero y el verbo en infinitivo. That's it. Listo, igual acá, el verbo en infinitivo. That's it. I could be, I would be, I will block. That's it. In the third conditional, we're talking about an unreal possibility about the past. So this one is unreal past situation or possibility. That is was the one that we just saw. Es el que acabamos de ver, right? Then we have if and past perfect. Aquí ya no tengo past simple, sino past perfect. That is had and the verb in past perfect, en past participle, ¿cierto? Que es el past perfect, es ese, had y el verb in past participle. And the modal verb, it's going to be would, or could, or might.
We were in third conditional.
Exactly. Pero aquí ya no es could, would, might y ya, sino could, would, might plus have plus verb in past participle. Aquí ya es usando el have y el verbo en past participle para decir yo hubiese hecho tal cosa o pude haber hecho tal cosa, right? Acá cuando digo would y el verbo en infinitivo es haría, ¿cierto? Si yo fuera una mujer sería muy fea, right? Pero acá
Okay.
es pude haber o hubiese hecho en el pasado. ¿Ready? Entonces, would o could o might, ese es el modal cualquiera de los tres, plus have, plus the very past participle. ¿Ready?
Okay.
Mm. So, for example, if I had been born in Europe, in Europe, ¿cierto? Aquí esto es una posibilidad, pero una posibilidad irreal, obvio, pero no en el presente, sino en el pasado. Entonces, if I
Mhm.
had been born in Europe, si yo hubiese nacido en Europa, if I had been born in Europe, I would have spoken other language, ¿cierto? Yo hubiese hablado otro idioma. Entonces ya no es solo would y el verbo, sino would have, verbo en past participle.
Okay.
¿Listo? ¿Ready? Entonces, esto es, es como un resumen súper grande de los cuatro condicionales, ¿ready? Que digamos que se cierran con este que es el tercero. La próxima vez
Okay.
que veamos condicionales ya no va a ser así solitos, sino que hay posibilidad de mezclarlos, pero por el momento no te preocupes por eso, lo vamos a ver más adelante. Ready? Don't worry.
Let me sleep.
Exactly, exactly like that. Right? So, my dear Nat, questions, difficulties, clear, más o menos, kind of.
Oh, it's clear.
Great, excellent. It's a matter of practicing, of course, as everything in this life. But in general terms, well, this week we were directed to talk about our lives, the moments, the situations, and the changes of our life, and also the bad moments or the bad decisions of our life, the regrets, what we should
Mhm.
have done. And also, what would have happened if you hadn't had those regrets? What would have happened if making hypothetical suppositions about our past? So, my dear, everything clear?
Clear.
Great, excellent. So, the next week we are going to have the week number 7, and we are going to complement a little bit those topics of the modals in past, which is could have, would have, should have, All of those we're going to talk about the next class, okay? So
Okay.
for the moment, that's it. See you the next class. Have a wonderful week. And that's it, right? So,
You too, Leo. Thank you very much for your time.
no, thanks to you for your time and for your participation. See you next
Bye
week.
bye.